Well, good day, my ratties. Um, Obviously, I'm filming this a day early, so happy Easter. Uh, Happy 420, happy whatever you want today to be. I'm still in my Easter dress. Um, because it's so comfy actually. I got this from Target. Anyways, and I've just been wearing it all afternoon and I was like not in the mood to change. Sorry, viewers. I'm like messing with my hair because I can't get it to do what I want it to do now. Anyways, okay. So, hello everyone. I hope you had a great week. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode with Dylan. I always feel like, well, granted it's been 2 times now, but my episodes with Dylan are like super feral. Also, for those of you watching, a new ink. Wow. Um your girl stays busy. And this is super fresh. But yeah, I got some new ink. I got 222. So, I know usually like with people's like cherub angels, they normally do like 444 or whatever. But I thought 222 because 222 is like alignment. So like you're exactly where you're supposed to be. So in my mind, like the angel that I got is kind of like signifying like my mom being like my guardian angel or whatever. So if I'm in alignment, then that would mean that she's like putting me on the trajectory of like being where I'm supposed to be, you know? So I like the 222. And then I just got some stars. Then I got a hummingbird. I forgot, you guys, like the lower forearm, what a juicy area that is and how much it fucking hurts. Um, because he was like, "Where do you want to start?" And I was like, "Honestly, you pick. I don't really care. I don't have a preference." I mean, it all sucks in actuality. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say, like, oh my God, yes, like getting a tattoo is the most fun thing I've ever done in my life. Because it's not, obviously. But I forgot because it's been a really long time. Actually, one of my friends, Kaylee, when I started doing the patchwork sleeve, was like, bitch, you said you weren't getting any more tattoos. And I was like, did I actually say that? And I guess maybe at one point in my mind, I was not going to get any more because I guess, I mean, I don't know why I feel like this is such a big thing I have to describe. But in my mind, it was like, well, I don't have anything right now that I would feel like I need to get or any ideas. So, no. But then I just, especially after having my son, got more and more ideas on what to get. So, had to start something. Anywho, so got a hummingbird and then I have a stamp and it's like a magnolia stamp for my nanny and then 1930 cuz that's when she was born. Pretty freaking dope. Um so we're vibing for now. I'm definitely not getting any more ink for the rest of the spring and summer because you have to stay out of the sun and do all of that, and I don't have time for that during the summer. Like, I want to be outside all day today. I was like having to make sure I was under the porch and I was not in the sun and all of that, and no. So I'm done for sure for now, and then honestly I don't really have anything else in mind, so we'll see. But she's like looking more like, not that a patchwork sleeve is supposed to look complete, I think, but it's looking a little bit more put together for me, at least. Um, so yeah, that was a really drawn out conversation to explain my new tattoos, but there you go. Um, Anywho, so kind of on that note, I feel like there's been like bits here and there of like deepness that I've gotten into in some episodes, but I don't think I've really ever gotten super deep. And I don't, it's been, I don't know, I just feel like it's okay for me to like say it out loud more so. Mm, Words are not wording. How am I trying to say this? Not that I have purposefully not been trying to get deep or anything like that, because I don't know. I feel like I'm like so big on talk about your feelings. Like, don't let anyone ever make you feel like you can't. But I have just been so busy that my own feelings, and I'm so, so bad about this. And I think I've even joked about it, but it's not really that funny. Um, I just know if like I have to get through whatever amount of time because other things are more important, or like I just have to focus my time elsewhere, then like all of my emotions and stuff, like everything's compartmentalized. Like disassociation is like my go-to because I can just step out of whatever reality actually is so that I can pretend that we're here and focus on what I need to get done. And I'm like, we'll put these feelings in this box right here. They'll go right here, and then at X date, we can pull them out. But then what happens is like X date comes around where I probably should confront some of my feelings. And then it's like, we already did our due diligence and put them away and compartmentalized them. So like what's the point, So I get really bad about doing that. And I feel like that's what a lot of therapy is always like conversations about. Okay, it's okay and it's, in in some ways a lot of people don't have the ability to control their emotions that way, and like that's great, because I'm not allowing emotions to take over in a lot of situations where for other people they would be, but I have to be able to like bring them back out. And so that's when I like start reading depressing ass books and watching depressing ass movies to like elicit sadness, truly. So then while I'm feeling that, I can like start to bring up some of the things in my life that have been eliciting that. So anyways, um obviously like life's not been the easiest on me in the past couple months with my nanny passing, and then my mom's death anniversary. So my mom's death anniversary was what, February 20th, and then my nanny passed March 19th. So like, isn't that also fucking insane? It's almost like a month to the day. Um so like, I don't know, it's just like bam bam. And I did talk about in like that episode that I filmed on my mom's death anniversary how it just and it still is baffling to me like how crazy grief is, because this year I was so I don't want to say like distraught, but I was definitely more in my feels than I was last year, which was again crazy because I was like heavily pregnant last year. Um and like last year was like 15 years, so I feel like, not that again like numbers matter, but that I guess is a little bit more significant than like 16 years. But anyways, this year I was like super depressed about it. Then my nanny passes. And I don't want to ever say like I'm happy for like losing someone, because I'm not, but she was my great grandmother and she had a wonderful life, and I like pop off sis for conquering that. And like, not only me having a great grandmother as long as I did, but like my son's almost entire first year of life, he had a great great grandmother, so that's pretty dope. Because I always remember being a kid, and when I would talk about, like, my nanny, people were assuming I was talking about my grandmother, and I was like, "Oh, no, that's my great-grandmother." So, even me being, like, a kid and having my nanny was crazy, So, all of the things, like, and now that life is slowing down a little bit, I'm, like, starting to be like, "Okay." One, I'm exhausted just because I'm, like, so hard on myself for an extended period of time with, like, no break, and am, like, always adding project on project onto our lives or whatever, because that's just kind of how I cope, is like, let's stay as busy as possible so there's no room to even worry about this other shit. But it's like now it's slowing down because it's summertime coming up, and like, we don't really have a lot of huge things planned and things like that, because I just want to be able to stay home and go out on the boat and enjoy life. But with the slowing down comes me realizing, like, how mentally taxing it is for me to just, like, push everything to the side. So I've been trying to, like, feel through some things. And then literally, I swear, and I've talked about this before, I will get out of, like, the sadness algorithm on, like, my actual personal TikTok, and then I'll be on, like, the Feral Thoughts TikTok, and it'll be like sad shit after sad shit after sad shit, and I'm like, wait, 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 can the algorithm sync up, please? I don't want to watch any of this. Um, so, like, it was, what was it? Yesterday one of these mornings, there was this thing on TikTok, and it was like a mom's love or whatever. And it was just like a compilation. Did I say that right? Anyways, of boys, like, and it being like, who do you love you more, your daddy or your mommy? And then, like, um, just like professional athlete, it's like, loving their mama. Just, anyways, just a thing about mother's love. And I'm like crying. It's like 8 a.m. because I'm like, wow. I mean, one that, like, it was like, oh my God, like, yay, like, I'm gonna get to experience that. And then two, I was like in my feels because I was like, and that's how I feel about my mom, like, still. And I don't have her. Um, yeah, and it sucks. And also, everything that happened right when she passed, um, I think, like, just adding on top of that. So, like, my parents were divorced, and I'm now living with my dad, who I really, like, only saw probably, like, twice a year. I do remember I would usually always see him, like, once during the summer for, like, a week or 2 weeks. I would stay with him, and then usually for, like, Christmas or Thanksgiving, maybe. He worked offshore, so it wasn't, I don't know, I guess he wasn't, like, that pressed about, like, their genuine custody agreement, because when they got divorced, my mother was still living in Florida with me and my sister, but eventually, like, we moved up to Mississippi. So I, like, moving to, yes, this is my dad or whatever, but he's still, like, this, like, strange human to me, because I only know him as this person who is, like, fun, and who I see, like, a couple weeks out of the year, and then that not being my experience. And also, I just remember so vividly that anytime I would be sad about my mom or like bring her up, it was always like it was an attack on him, and like I didn't love him enough or love his family enough to like not think about my mom. And it's like, yo, like, looking in the moment, I don't think like, I mean, I'm sure I'm thinking these things, but looking back on it as an adult and thinking about how, like, how can you speak to your small child that way or make them feel that way? Because right then and there is when I've already made this like unhealthy establishment with feelings, and how, like, okay, in order to protect other people's feelings, my feelings, you zip it, you know? And who wants to be teaching their kids that, I think even about my son, and I'm like, that's disgusting. Like, I would never, not that I want anything like that to happen, like to me or Matthew, but if it were to, why would I be jealous of you grieving? Mind blowing. But again, like, trying to understand a narcissist, crazy. And I guarantee you, if someone even gives him a glimpse of this episode, oh God. Hey, um, so yeah, to any of you who have lost a parent, like, that shit sucks. And then double it with losing a parent, and then the parent you're left with being like the one you should not be left with. I'm really sorry. And I hope that as you've grown up, you've been able to focus on you and focus on like what is healthy for you. And whether that's no contact and doing whatever you've done to get yourself to where you are. I'm proud of you. And it's literally a work in progress. I'm like in the mental health field, and I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? Um, and like I'm teaching like other parents how to do things sometimes, and it's like my go-to is like, life's tough. This shit's hard. So if you don't want to deal with it that day, like, don't start the battle, just so it's okay for you to not be okay every single day. Um, but like, since obviously being a child, becoming an adult, like mid college, really working on my mental health and like doing intensive therapy and stuff, I have like completely switched from this like people pleaser, someone who would always say yes, no matter like how damaging it was going to be to me, just so that like I felt like I was like had people, was, was, I don't know, like had some sort of significance, to being like, fuck you if you even think you're going to look at me the wrong way. Um like, it's not crazy because I don't have a problem with it, but it is also like, looking back, it's like, wow, I've done like legit a 360, because you will not catch me people pleasing anyone. That's no. My like motto is protect your peace, because you have to. If there's anyone who is like a fraction of a threat to the inner peace in my life that I have made, and the peace in my family, they're out. Um, like, you maybe get 2 strikes with me, and then you're out. And I wish you the best, but, like, you don't. So, I'm very much, when I cut you off, that's it, you know? Um, because if I cut you off, like, you did something significant enough for me to do that. So, like, why would you get to come back, you know? Um, I don't know. So, and I'm blunt. I say what I mean what I say. Um, whether or not, like, it's what you want to hear. So it's just crazy, you know? And then I've, like, become, like, hyper independent. It's one of me and Matthew's, like, biggest little, like, bickerments. And it's because I hate asking for help. James and I were also talking about this, like, around the dude's birthday party, because she was like, kept asking me, excuse me, if she could help, what she could do. And I'm like, oh, literally nothing. And she's like, I know you need help with something. I'm like, no, like, I don't accept help. It doesn't happen. Like, you have to be forcing me at my will, or, like, staying, like, at my house or something, to where it's just like I have to accept it, you know what I mean? Or like Dylan, where he was just like, I'm coming over at X time, and I'm like, perfect. So I just don't argue with him, and I enjoy his company. Oh, sorry. And so yeah, I I don't like to ask for help. But, like, I'll be, like, getting overstimulated or something, and, like, frustrated. And Matthew will be like, just ask for some help. And I'm like, I shouldn't have to ask. But, like, my therapist was like, but what is that? Like, think about that. You get upset and you say that you shouldn't have to ask, but, like, what's wrong with asking? Like, listen to that. And I was like, you make good sense there, lady. I don't want you to make good sense though, because I don't want to ask for help. But, like, I'm really trying to be more reflective of my feelings now, and more reflective of, like, how to continue to better myself, because as my son gets older, I want nothing but, like, healthy coping mechanisms, and, like, healthy household, healthy everything around him, so that there's, like, never a fraction of him feeling how I felt as a kid. Because, like, I look at Matthew, and sometimes it's, like, hard to, if you are in a relationship with someone who has grown up with, like, 0 trauma, has a lovely family, like, you know, just, like, doesn't have any, doesn't have, like, mental illness. It can be tough to not resent them. And it's like, it's nothing that he's doing or they're doing. It's just simply like, wow, I would love to exist in your brain for a day, or to have existed, like, in your childhood for a day. Um, because I mean, like, I think we all hate our parents at some point. Like, that's a rite of passage. But to, like, as a kid, hate your mom because, like, she wouldn't let you get, like, a new video game or something, versus, like, to hate your parent for them being, like, emotionally abusive. is two different things. You know what I mean? Um, this is also so sidebar, a chai latte. I am on a chai latte fucking kick right now. Um, we had a 7 Brew open up over here, and a couple weekends ago, I got one when I was leaving the car wash because I was like, ooh, I want to try it out. But I panicked because I pull up and there's like it's almost like Chick-fil-A. There was like someone already at my car and I'm like, oh fuck, like I've never been here before. I'm like, there's like a QR code for the menu, like there's not even like a menu thing. So I'm like stressing because this person's just standing right here. And so I don't want to like take an awfully long time looking at the menu. So I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll just get a nice chai latte, whatever. Like, mm, when I could have probably gotten something much more fancy and like 7 Brewy, but whatever. So since then, though, I've been on this chai latte kick. So I'm having one right now because I literally, since we have gotten home from Easter with Matthew's family, I have like just been like on the verge of falling asleep to take a nap, but it never came to fruition. So then, like, I feel like I've just been in exhaustion. So I'm like, I need this caffeine. Anyways, as I was saying, it can be hard, I feel like, to not resent your partner for having, not that it's like a perfect life. Nobody has a perfect life. You know what I mean? But to just like not on a day to day basis, like have such struggles because, like, and to also not be like, well, what the fuck? Like, why do you get this? Again, not that it's their fault, but I think it can be really tough to be, like in that situation. I do think it's really helpful for me to have someone who is in pretty much every way the total opposite from me, because I'm super type A, like I'm super, in order for me to not stay anxious, to not like be on the verge of crashing out, I need to have a lot of control, and to be with someone who's super type B, like could care less, and will just kind of go with the flow and do what I've asked and kind of let me march the ship. March the ship. What the fuck is that? Anyways, is really helpful. So I do appreciate that. But it is hard to not sometimes be like, damn, screw you for getting this like perfect life. What the fuck? And we've talked about it, and he's like, I mean, yeah, like that sucks. Obviously, that's not exactly how I said it, so don't come for him, you guys. But, and especially, I don't know why I always say this word, and like it's not even really like true, but I'm always like, I'm like orphan Annie, and it's like, well, no, I'm not really an orphan, but sometimes it feels that way because my mom is gone, don't talk to my dad, and don't want to. So it's like, you know, by definition, kind of am. So, all of that to say, we're out here in these streets, you guys. Um, and it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to always be working on yourself, because that's another thing. Like, you're never done working on yourself. You should never be done trying to better yourself and be better for yourself, your partner, your kids, your family, your friends. Like, I always want to be someone that people can rely on and people can be proud to be associated with, and someone who is also like confident in themselves. And I'm slowly working on it, you know. I'm working on feeling comfortable in my own skin. I'm working on feeling comfortable with my feelings and feeling them more and being more vulnerable with people too, because I think that's another thing too. I'm like, if I let people know that I also indeed get depressed and can't get out of bed, like, what does that say about me? Because I'm always thinking, like, okay, I have to be this, not like role model, but I have to be this person who has it all together so that people are constantly thinking of me as like, how do I describe it? Because one of the things I feel like I get the most, like, comment wise, not like just in general life, is, wow, like, how do you do so much? Like, you've accomplished so much, you've done so much, like, and all of these things have happened to you in life. So for me, when I hear that, it almost like kind of triggers me to be like, okay, people think that I am amazing because I've done all these things. So I have to then, therefore, keep this up. And because I've done all these things, that means that I don't fall apart. Because if I fell apart, then like accomplishing stuff wouldn't be happening. Which is like not the case at all. Because again, like, I got through high school, I got through college with like crashing out literally the entire time. Um Legit. And I and I really hate that for me. And I'm not big on like regrets and being like, "Oh, like I wish I would have a do-over," because why would I want a do-over? Because I would have nothing that I do now, and I don't like even changing a minuscule detail, you know what I mean? Like, you, who knows what that would have changed about me right now. And I love where things are right now. So I would never want to necessarily change things. I hate that some things happened, but it really does suck when I think about, like, especially high school. College is not that bad. I don't think I mean, I was still coping in awful ways and like not and crashing out a lot. But high school, like, I'm genuinely was like dissociated and not in like a good state of mind the entire time. So I don't remember a lot. And what I do remember, I'm like, ew, I'm good. Don't want to remember that at all. Deuces. Um, and that sucks, you know? Not that I feel like I would really care that much because I don't think I'm a person who's like, "Oh my god, high school was the best years of my life." Obviously not, because I was dealing with a lot of shit anyways. But it would be nice to look back on periods of my life with fond memories, but that's okay. I'm paving the way for, like, in 10 years, the last 10 years that I'll look back on will be super like, chef's kiss. They'll be fun to watch, you know, or think about. Watch, like, I'm like videoing everything and I'm gonna put the VCR tape in. Oh my god. Not when you, and that just like random thought made me think about being a kid, and not when you were like super excited to watch a movie or whatever, but then you legit had to keep your finger on the TV on the rewind button for like 20 minutes to rewind your movie back to the beginning. At least we don't have to do that anymore, you know. The world may be going to shit, but we don't have to rewind our stuff for 20 minutes anymore. There's fancy buttons now that just say play from beginning. Okay, I think I've had enough of getting deep. Real quick, Summer House is like really kind of, I don't know. I don't know what's going on Bravo. I have started like continuing with watching Real Housewives of Atlanta. Well, I'm about to be on season 6. And I forgot that Nene became like Miss Acting Queen. And I just love that for her. And also Cordell and Portia. Girl, you're low key in an abusive relationship. Like he's not abusive to you, but like he's really controlling and manipulating and gaslighting you all the time. And this is not The Handmaid's Tale. Which should I watch? I almost started watching the other night, but I was like, I don't know if this is the vibe. It looks pretty decent, but I don't know if that's what I'm going for right now. I've been reading some good books. I've read like 3 or 4 books in the last week because I've been reading a lot of under 400 pagers. So that AKA means I finish them in a day because I'm psychotic. Something also about reading an actual book versus reading on my Kindle or like on my Kindle app on my phone. I'm like flying through it. So I don't know what the difference is between like when I have to flip through pages, if I'm like just going slower. I don't know. I will say this. Unless the book is like just gripping me in and I can tell that this is going to be worthwhile for me to remember every single moment, I do kind of skim through some of the things and just get to like the quotes of like what the characters are saying back and forth to each other, because do I need a whole description of like this person's bathroom? No, I don't care. So I'm gonna skip to the like verbiage that I care about. Unless I know it's like unless it's like ACOTAR or like Fourth Wing and stuff like that, where I knew like, no, I need to absorb every fucking word that's on this book or on this page. So that's what else have I been watching? Oh my god, I finished Love on the Spectrum season 3. Literally pop off, Abby. That song is such a fucking bop. Like what's the line? Like um but like we can like do our separate things. I'm on the drop slide, he's in the lazy river. Oh yes, girl. And like the when she does the like, he knows I'd rather have gummy bears anyways, and like David goes, I'm like, okay, stop it right the fuck now because I'm about to cry on command. That was so genuinely sweet. Also, like men could really use some tips from this show because they got to every single date they have a gift for their date, and like they're always doing something fun. It's something that's planned out, they're chatting. They're talking about things that each other likes and dislikes. Like everybody's forthcoming about what they need from someone. I'm like, wow, neurotypicals need to be watching this and taking notes. So yeah, I need to find I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight, if I'm gonna read or if I'm gonna watch more Real Housewives of Atlanta. Probably watch more Real Housewives of Atlanta because I am not opposed to just falling asleep within like 30 minutes if my body lets me do that. Be so for real, Fallon. Your body's not gonna let you do that. I am on PTO tomorrow though, so I do fear though that I have screwed up because I took off Friday and then I'm taking off Monday. So I've given myself like a 4-day weekend. Therefore, going back to work is going to be tough. On Tuesday, I'm going to be like, wait, I don't know how to do this anymore. I don't know how to work. I'm not capable. I do need to take my meds tomorrow though, because I haven't taken my meds for 2 days now, and I can feel when today gorged. I am so bloated and like in pain that I am like, okay, I need to take my meds because like my Adderall would never let me binge eat like this. Anywho, all right, ratties. Thanks for getting emotional with me today. I hope everyone has a fabulous week. I hope that you continue to speak great things into existence and lift yourself up and always love yourself and do what you need to protect your peace. That should be everyone's motto. But I appreciate you guys listening to this episode. As always, go through my little spiel. Please be sure to connect on socials at Feral Thoughts Pod on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, all of the fun places. On my Instagram, I have my link tree that has literally everywhere that you can listen to the pod. Check it out. And if you're loving the pod, whatever subscription service you're using, follow, subscribe so that you'll be notified when the episodes release on Mondays. All right, you guys. Until next time. Bye.